And quite the gallery it has been.
The gallery has been. I am one of your hosts, Jen, with my amazing early career mentor, John.
Hey, everybody.
We have not had a conversation since Christmas,
It's been
or
that long. Wow. Yeah.
since before Christmas. Um, I was going through some personal things because I'm moving. I am, for the very first time, moving out of my home state of California to the state of the sun in Arizona. So it's been an incredible experience and emotions this last month or so. On the topics ahead, we've got what's going on in Hot Topics. We've got a winter cold front coming. We were going to talk about what we do to keep healthy and with seasonal depression. What's going on in pop culture, the future of work, and I think pop culture and the current events are probably going to take us quite a bit of time this week.
A lot's happened.
Just so much. The elephant in the room is that we are on the WTF timeline.
Oh yeah, I don't even think that's the elephant anymore.
I struggle right now. I think we're all kind of struggling of what's normal, what's normal and what's not normal. What is the weather like up where you're at right now?
Unseasonable is probably the best word for it. We've had the last week or so, and for the next several days as well, has been sunny, blue skies,
Oh,
no
nice,
rain, no snow.
nice.
It's exactly what we don't need these days. Like, I hate to say it, we need it to be cold and gray and rainy and snowy because we really don't want to have another, fire sale of a summer like we've had the last several summers. And
Oh,
yeah, so I mean, it doesn't get as bad as it does in California, obviously, but when you've got
oh,
two
with the
major
fire.
mountain ranges, yeah, when you get two major mountain ranges on either side of you, and you're just watching the snowpack with crossed fingers for the spring and summer. We'll see what happens. But yeah, it's we talked a little bit about like seasonal depression. It's like haven't had that problem here for the last week because it's been glorious outside. Like people are out in shirt sleeves, they're running, they're jogging, they're walking their dogs, they're not bundled up, trying to protect against the elements. And then you look at the rest of the country and you're just like, that's that's the opposite extreme. Like that's too much as well. So we'll see.
Uh,
We might have a rough February, and we'll see what happens.
I'm curious. So it's pretty chilly here in the Bay Area,
Yeah,
like biting cold, but it gets to that like high 50s, low 60s in the afternoon, but still a cold. Um, Davon was saying down in Hollywood it was like 80 degrees a week or so ago.
yeah,
That's typical California. But
yeah.
yeah, no, I'm. Do you have like a winter workout routine?
Uh, to a certain extent, it's we're pretty well configured to do everything in the garage. So
Okay.
we've got like a Rogue Fitness air bike, we've got a treadmill, we've got a pull up and dip bar, we have a weight set, we have an inversion table. I'm the only one who uses that, but yeah, it's we can exist inside for quite a long time. Though this year especially, and thankfully with the weather, it's I've been trying to make myself get outside for a significant amount of time every day in some way, shape, or form. Not just like walking out to get the mail, but and so far things have cooperated. We'll see what happens.
Nice. I have been taking shorter walks with the dogs because it's so cold, but that's the big question we're having is, or I'm having, because when you pay to move across state lines, you pay by the pound.
Hmm.
So I'm like, get rid of the furniture I don't need. But right now I'm like, I've got my Peloton Tread Max or whatever they call it.
Hmm.
I've got the
Yeah, those
Peloton
things
bike,
are significant.
heavy,
Yeah.
heavy. I've got the rower. I've got everything. And I'm like, do I even have room in the Arizona house for this? Because it's yeah, and in the house we got, I guess we've had it for 12 years now. They converted the garage, and so the guys call it the office,
Right.
and so like that's what I'll build out my office. But it is interesting. Unfortunately, though, this cold weather does have me inside a little bit more and probably doom scrolling more than I should be.
Yeah.
And I know we chatted about this earlier, but or last week. I I need to unplug because I think I'm learning too much that I can't control,
Right.
and
Absolutely.
it's it's a gut punch of I have a what's that? Do you know Sebastian Maniscalco?
I've heard the name.
He's a really funny comedian of like
Oh,
Italian.
yes. Yeah, I know who he is. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. There's and one of his bits, like everything was like, "Aren't you embarrassed?" And I'm like, that plays in my head, like
Yeah.
every time, every time.
Well, yeah, and I think, to your point, there's always something going on, right? You wake up in the morning and it's as one of my friends says, quoting Shakespeare, "What fresh hell is this?" Like, and we were talking about it with friends last night over dinner. Like my coping mechanism has been I don't really look at the news until like 11 or 12 in the
Yeah.
morning now, right? Like it's
Mm-hmm.
wake up, make coffee, go through the rituals, stretch out, get comfortable, maybe, read a couple things that I tagged out that I want to just, dive into while my mind's fresh. But yeah, I play the radio, listen to music, do whatever you have to, but almost build up some reserve and some resilience before you decide to listen to NPR for 15 minutes. But yeah, it's tough, and everybody I know is going through it. Less so outside of the country, obviously, but it is funny. Friends in Europe that are pinging me at 7, 8, 9 in the morning when their day is ending, and they're starting to watch the news, and they're like, "What the hell is going on?" I'm like, guys, I'm not doing this now. I'll get back to
So,
you in a couple hours.
so speaking of Europe, we had the Davos was this week.
Yep.
And depending on who you listen to, it was Davos. I
Yes,
got to figure out
Davos,
what
Davos. Yeah.
Davos. Yeah. I was embarrassed. The best soundbite I heard all week came from one of my least favorite people,
Mm.
Mr. Musk, who
Ah,
was talking about um, what is the new, like something of peace,
the Board
uh,
of Peace.
the Board of Peace, and he
Yeah.
said, "Oh, peace as in PIECE. I'll have a piece of Colombia. I'll
Yeah.
have a piece, or I'll have a piece of Venezuela. I'll
Yeah.
have a piece of Greenland." I was like, "Oh, you cheeky bastard!" Like that was funny. Like
Yeah.
that
I
was funny.
Yeah, it's funny. It's that's another one of those things where kind of like the Jack Smith testimony yesterday. I wait till the very end. Like I'll catch the highlights. I don't need to sit through everything. I think, and honestly, most of the time, Davos isn't a barn burner. Like you can get what you need to from the news snippets, but after the whole Mark Carney speech, that I definitely went out and I watched, tip to tail on YouTube, and yeah, I mean that I think was a game changer. I think that's could be a blueprint and a direction setting that a lot of people are going to point back to for at least the next several years on how things could unfold. And and what I thought was interesting about it is kind of like to your point. I saw Scott Galloway
Yeah.
was posting some quick little reel while he was walking through the streets, and he was talking about all the times he's been to Davos and like when it's been really optimistic and growth oriented, and everybody was glad to be there,
Yeah.
and now he basically said, he's walking the streets going, "Why the hell am I here?" Like, yeah, I
Yeah.
got invited, and yeah, I'm supposed to sit on a panel, but it just the vibe is different. It's a little down, it's a little oppressive, it's a little ambiguous, and I actually thought I was very surprised that he was just so frank about it. Just walking down the street, all these other people streaming past him, and he's like, "I don't know what the hell I'm doing here."
I
And and that's it's been a long time since I've heard anybody just kind of like say, "Wow, I don't know why Davos exists." So it'll be interesting to see what the next several versions of it are.
I was interested to see people I know who were there, and I thought, I didn't realize you were that important. Like, oh, I I don't know who they send those things out to. Uh, the other, I got to be careful how I say this. Were all of the leaders in financial institutions just clutching their pearls about putting a max, interest rate on credit cards and how it
Oh
would
yeah.
slow the economy? And I'm like, bite me,
Well,
bite
yeah,
me.
it's a ridiculous it's a ridiculous assertion to make, especially when it's Jamie Dimon. I'm like, you
Yeah.
brought one of the richest bankers in the world, right? You misspeak and markets are going to react. Uh, and it's just hilarious to me that him or anybody of that stature would weigh in on that as a policy topic. It's especially in Europe. Like, you're not going to get a sympathetic audience in Europe. You'll get, yeah, you might from the Swiss bankers and from some of your own ilk that came over from the U.S., but everybody else is going to be looking at you like, what the fuck? It's hilarious. There's one other guy. Oh, I can't remember his name. He made a big splash at Davos probably 5 or 6 years ago as sort of a pundit and observer, where he came on in and he was invited to a panel, and he got his chance to speak, and his little like 2 or 3 minute thing became this viral reel of him basically saying, look, until your countries and companies start actually dealing with taxes like adults, and you're taxing the wealthiest people, and you're taxing the wealthiest organizations commensurate with everyone else, you're never going to get past some of the problems that you have, and you're never going to accelerate as a as a society. And he's continued to bang this drum year over year, and the importance of like tax and tax structures and equitable tax structures and what it does to countries. And every single year, right about this time, that video like pops up again, and I share it out to friends one more time just to say, this guy's still here. It's still a problem. What are you going to do about it? So when Jamie Dimon's like, credit card fees are going to cripple the economy, it's like, if credit card fees are going to cripple the economy, then your economy's pretty fucked up.
I'm going to say it. I refuse to take any pandering from a certain executive who lost his job as a CEO because he was having an affair.
Yeah.
That, by the way, nobody knows.
Yeah.
Nobody knows, but because, Silicon Valley also knows everything that they don't talk about.
Right.
I'm like, save it.
Yeah.
Just save it. I don't trust you guys. Yeah, somebody, I think, was it Kara Swisher I was listening to? And, we were really, she actually had like people leaving her hateful voice messages this week that she was playing with Scott.
Oh, I bet.
But they were talking about the price of things used to, be really correlated to the cost of what it took to make it,
Of
and
the
now we're
production,
not. Yeah, we're not there. We're just on a sliding scale, which is
Right.
crazy. Wanted to get into AI work slop, but I actually wanted to talk more about the funniness of the future of work. And a song I cannot get out of my head is this amazing ABBA song. I think it's called Fernando.
Yeah.
And it has been playing in my head since Fernando Mendoza. What is that, the college championship? I don't even know
Yeah.
what that
College
game
football
is.
playoffs. Yeah.
There we go.
But that was the championship game.
Yeah.
Them. Yeah. Indiana versus Miami.
Yeah. I am in awe of this kid. I am in awe of his parents and,
Right.
and how they've raised him. I also liked his take on not dating.
On not dating.
On not dating. And it goes back to what I had actually had this rule for my son. And I was like, hey, if you have a full time sport in high school, this is back in high school though, not in
Right.
college, but it was like, hey, if you've got a full time sport and you have full, he was in Baccalaureate, that program.
Oh, right, right,
Um, and I was just like, hey, no offense, you don't have time for a person.
yeah. You don't have time for a person.
You know what I mean? Like their needs, their emotions,
Sure,
their
yeah,
how
yeah,
they're
yeah.
expecting things. And I loved how he was saying like I'm focused, and I was like I like this kid. Not that I want to.
Well, it's funny you say that because I did have someone I used to work with was in a similar situation. Living down in Texas, kid was part of a high school Texas football program, which down there is second only to like God, and her advice. Well, it wasn't really advice to him so much. It was her observation. Was whenever like it got to be Friday and game day and the weekend and stuff like that, the number of young women that suddenly were in his orbit, you know, quintupled, and she would just be like, "Nope," like like you're going to college and you're gonna go play football and wrestle in college, and that you don't have time for any of that. I just
Yeah.
thought that was hilarious. I
Although
mean,
did you meet Anne in college?
oh no, no, we met. Well, we were both in our mid 20s. Like we
Oh,
met we met because we worked for the same company, and
okay.
we had a mutual friend that introduced us. But yeah,
I got it. I was not laughing, haha. I found it incredibly curious. Speaking of, well, one, I love how Fernando Mendoza only uses LinkedIn as his social media platform. Good on you, kid. I think he probably has a future in politics, but he's from Florida, so I'm not going to hold my breath as to where that
who
goes.
knows? It might be the shot in the arm that LinkedIn needs to get
Yeah,
the youth on the platform.
yeah. Um, but kind of like the future of AI productivity. It was curious
Wait,
to
wait, wait!
see.
I want to hear about the not dating part for Mendoza.
Oh yeah. So he had said like, look, I wanted to go and play in college,
Right.
because he went to Berkeley first.
Oh, oh, that's right. Yeah, I think I did know that. Yeah,
Played for Berkeley. He was at Haas.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
You know, he obviously I think he got his Haas. I don't know what that program is. I've only I thought of it was an MBA program, but maybe there's levels to it.
Mm.
And then transferred to Indiana. But I am curious to see how he graduates because he is he has another year of eligibility and he hasn't technically. I mean, I guess he could graduate this year then.
Yeah, but I mean, it's not uncommon for some of these kids to have most of their credits and still go into the draft. Like
Yeah.
I've known a few instances of people who had their credits, could have graduated, went into the draft, came back later to
Mm.
just kind of tidy everything up, tie it off, and then officially get their degree. But at that point, it's at that point, they knew that they had peaked in the NFL. Like they were looking for that next thing. In fact, I want to say this complete supposition on my part. I think that's what Andrew Luck did, but I
I was
could be
gonna say
wrong.
Andrew Luck. Andrew Luck
Yeah.
is because he's now a
Um,
professor at Stanford, right?
he's the one of the heads of the athletic program.
Okay.
He runs. I think he runs the whole football program now, and he just appointed Tavita Pritchard. I think came back, who used to be a Stanford football player, to be the new head coach. So yeah, but I mean, Luck was one of those ones that was very smart. Like he knew he was on that downward spiral to CTE, and he was just like, I'm getting beat up too much, I'm done.
Yeah.
So good on him. But yeah, but yeah, I did not know about Mendoza and no dating. It's funny because I did see as I was telling you, I saw the LinkedIn thing earlier today, and I just thought that was hilarious because I know so many, I'm gonna say kids, young people his age, that are like, LinkedIn, really? Do I have to do LinkedIn? And I'm like,
Yeah.
yeah, I get it. We don't want to do LinkedIn either. Yeah, so
Yeah.
there's probably a good there's probably a good moment of disruption out there for somebody who wants to figure out like what's the Instagram for work for the current generation of college graduates.
I mean, I, I don't know. I think if there's any company that has been incredibly agile in catching on to what the younger folks want, it was Dr. Pepper this week.
Oh, I missed that. What did they do?
So there was a gal who
And this,
Dr.
folks, is why we
Pepper.
call it catching it up.
Yeah,
Because we
so
don't pay attention to everything.
there was this young woman, a young Black American woman, who
Yeah.
was like, "Hey, She was on TikTok. She's sitting there talking from her bed, and she was like, "Hey, I don't know how it came about, but she did this Dr. Pepper jingle
Hmm.
of Dr. Pepper is good and nice," and
No way.
they used it. They used it, and they used it during a football game, and she just got a $2 million check.
Really?
A $2
Wow.
million check for a jingle that took off on TikTok, and Dr. Pepper said, "I'm at it. There we go." And it's not AI. It was clearly someone's
Exactly.
just
Yeah,
like
yeah.
one. Although I did get myself
Well,
into a little.
kudos to
Yeah.
whoever the brand manager was for Dr. Pepper. That was like, when their social media intern came on in and said, "You got to see this."
Check this out. Yeah. I mean, although it is interesting. Speaking of TikTok, so today's the new owners of TikTok. It is now the Ellison clan who owns TikTok.
Ugh.
And they have new T's and C's. So now
Oh, interesting.
anything you post is considered their IP. I'm
Really?
paraphrasing. Yeah. They can use it,
Oh.
reuse it, and not pay you for it. And I'm like, I'm so grateful that girl got her bag
Exactly. Yeah.
before, because who knows what they're going to do with that stuff. I mean,
All right. Now I got to open a tab and make a note because I got to check out that TNC. That's pretty vicious.
yeah, I'm grateful there's other TikTokers who are like, oh, this is what's happening today.
Exactly. Oh my goodness. New TikTok TNCs. All right. Good.
I've tried to go back to like the Instagram, but it feels like it's 2 weeks behind. And
Yeah, it's interesting because I I originally joined up there really just uh, more to see what my kids were doing, right? Because
yeah.
they would say things, and I would be like, "Oh, where'd you see that?" And they'd be like, "Oh, I saw it on Instagram." So I'm like, "All right, I'll go to Instagram," and uh, and I've noticed, kind of to your point, that there, regardless of who I follow, regardless of what I decide to repost or comment on, there does seem to be this weird lag, and I don't know whether the things I'm following just aren't that current. Maybe they don't post more than once a week, but I kind of doubt it. But yeah, there is a lack of immediacy in some of the stuff that's out there.
Mm. It's so funny because I know that you aren't on TikTok as much, and I was like, what did I save this week that I'd want to share with John?
Right.
The first one was it's a TikTok that says, "We look so stupid to the rest of the world right now. If it wasn't for school shootings, they would probably
I
think we
saw
have
that.
no schools."
That was that was not surprisingly one of the ones that I think went viral across a lot of platforms really quickly. I was just like, oh, wow. Well, and it's funny too, right? Because we talked in the very beginning of there's just so much going on, and there's just a moment where you don't want to get engaged. But when my friends from Europe and sometimes even Asia start sending me stuff over, it's usually in like Facebook Messenger or something like that, and I'm like, yeah, guys, I know what's going on in my own country. Unfortunately, like you don't need to keep sending me this stuff. I know what's happening. But there is this impression, given what they're seeing and what they've experienced, that we're getting cut off from certain sources or certain pieces of information, and I'm like, no, that's not the problem. The problem is there's way too much out there, and it's filtering the signal through the noise. That's the problem.
Do you think, genuine question, and this is a very sobering question amongst friends, do you think they think we don't know? because, and I say that to say,
Meaning our friends and family
our
in the
friends
rest of the world.
outside, yeah, our friends outside of the borders, and I think that because we've got what's going on in Minneapolis right now.
Mhm.
We've got shenanigans going on. Watsonville is where the chili water people have just gone to, and then Maine, and then obviously
Yeah.
we have this president uh, who's trying to attack Greenland just to eventually reopen the bases that we had already given up.
Y-
No say.
Yeah, it's well, anything that he has said about Greenland is just probably categorically
Sorry,
wrong.
I'm sorry. As he calls it, Iceland. As
Yeah,
he calls it,
exactly.
Iceland. But I wonder if
Yeah,
you're seeing
I'm sure the folks in Davos from Iceland this week were just like, "What the fuck?
what the.
Like, what? What? Why are you looking at me now? Like, yeah,
Did you want our volcano? What?
yeah, exactly. We have volcanoes. What else would you like?
But I've got to think because it looks like we're all complicit in this to the
Well,
outside world.
I think, I think that, I think that's a fair assumption to a certain extent, right? Because we've just never had anything like this. I mean, at least in this generation, and the generations that follow. Like our parents lived through the 60s, and there was some really bad shit that happened in the 60s that people forget about, or just, I hate to say it, were never taught about. But that's probably the last sort of major dysfunctional, convulsive moment that this country has had as a society, where there really was, not only polarization, but violence behind that polarization. And we just don't have the mental muscle or emotional memory of what that's like. And I think, especially in Europe, they've taken pains to understand what happened to them over the last 100 years, right? Because both world wars primarily happened on their continent, right? Certainly there were other theaters of war. There was the Pacific. You had, stuff in Africa going on, but they were the ones that had their shit rocked twice in the span of 3 decades. And everybody I know that is our age or older, some of whom, had parents that fought in the war, grandparents that fought in the war, or lived through the Cold War. Like one of my favorite old bosses, lived in Germany when it was partitioned. Like he remembers the wall going up and the wall coming down. They just have a different sense of history and accountability and connection to this type of activity. So I think I would assume on their part, they're kind of like, hey guys, wake up, this shit is real. Like we've already lived through this, we know what it's like. Why aren't you doing more? Now, the flip side of it is because, well, there's 330 million of us in a gigantic landmass that's scattered all over the place. So it's you get pockets of activity, you get pockets of inactivity, you get whole parts of the country. They're like, yeah, sure, this is great. Just don't bring it to my doorstep. And I don't blame them, and I'm glad they're paying attention because we need somebody that's kind of an external auditor to all of this bullshit that can actually represent history at some point. Because Lord knows, what's happening right now is one of the worst first drafts of all time. Very well documented by the Sidgerson rate, but what they're actually going to teach about this in 5, 10, 20 years is anybody's guess at this point.
You brought up the 60s, and I was thinking of what happened at Kent University in Ohio.
Yeah, Kent
And
State.
that was
Yeah.
Kent State, sorry, Kent
Yeah.
State. And you go back and you watch some of the newscasts, and we're the exact same. You had vile people who were like, oh, those kids shouldn't have been protesting. What?
Yeah.
What? What is wrong with it? Has something always been wrong with us, I guess? Like, to think.
Well, I mean, I think the longer, okay, I bumped my table. I think the longer that we're around, right, and people actually start learning the historical stories that haven't always been represented, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like the Tulsa massacres, or what's the various campaigns against Native Americans.
Mm-hmm.
When people get a deeper look into what slavery really meant and how long slavery went on, when you get those different perspectives and you get those different stories that are just as truthful, just as factual, they're just oriented in a different perspective. People realize that it's not we're not that much different from a lot of others, and we certainly didn't learn the lessons of our European forebears. In many cases, we took them to heart, exacerbated them, and metastasized them into something even worse. And there's a guy, God, I can't remember what his tag is out on Instagram, but big big guy, burly guy, obviously works out, but he just comes on out in a shirt that says basically something like "fight fascists, lift weights, and be kind to one another," something like that. But he always has a series of books about some sort of topic, and one of the ones he just did, one of the reels he just did was alternative histories for the United States, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he's pulling out stuff like Noam Chomsky. He's pulling out Ibrahim Zendi. He's pulling out the indigenous peoples' history of America. Like he's pulling out all these that are well researched, well regarded books that most people are never going to touch. Right? It's there was probably a really good chance in the last 10 to 15 years for that type of historical literature to kind of come to the fore, and some of it started to. But there are clearly too many audiences in the U.S. that just don't want to face up to those historical events. I mean, look at the how people freaked out about the 1619 project, right? I mean that, and the best part about that, or the worst part about it, depending on your point of view, is just like, look, there's nothing there that should be shocking to anyone. Like, just by knowing the history of slavery of the United States, you should be able to make some educated inferences and guesses on how bad it was. But people seem to think that, you know, these stories just came out of nowhere. That, oh my God, how could that ever have happened? We never would have done that.
How dare you attack my rapist great-great-grandfather? How dare you do that? That torturing fool deserves to have a good reputation in
Well,
his
it's
death.
like when you watch, if you ever watch like Finding Your Roots on PBS, right?
Love
And you
it.
get a really
I,
nice,
I geek out at that show.
yeah,
I love that show.
I think it was Ben Affleck or somebody, like like 7 generations back, he finds out that his like great 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 grandfather was a slave owner, and he was just like, he was a what now?
Yeah.
And then it's like, if your family's been here long enough,
Yeah.
they've probably seen or done some pretty bad shit.
My family, through all the generations, I think we go back to 1612. But yeah, we had slave owners in our past. Totally bummed when I figured that one out.
Right.
But I'm also, it's history. It's how I got here. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I'm not. I don't have anything to give anybody.
Yeah, and you're not being held responsible for it.
No,
right?
and
It's like the only responsibility that everybody should have is to acknowledge and accept what happened, and know that there's probably things that could be better and could be done better going forward. Like, don't make the same mistakes that your ancestors made.
no, we definitely want to repeat all mistakes. We are looking to repeat our
Well,
mistakes
here
and somebody
it seems
else's
to be
mistakes.
that way. Yes.
But I think I have to double check the percentage, but there is something like, and I think Henry Louis Gates talks about it. If you are a Black American whose family goes back to the 1800s,
Mm-hmm.
there's a high probability that you're like 30% European.
Oh yeah,
Meaning,
yeah,
meaning those slave owners were also their ancestors as
yeah.
well. Like,
Oh yeah.
not that it's prideful, but I'm saying we're all just learning the facts here.
Right.
Um, like I thought Gestapos were only in Germany, but now we're having to have
Oh
our
well,
own
I mean,
version of it.
have you seen? There's somebody, young black woman. I think I'm following her on Instagram now because she's put out a couple of really interesting reels and feeds that basically makes the arguments that ICE is not Gestapo. What they really are is sort of the structural and cultural descendants of slave catchers. And I was just like, whoa. Like the argument was very simple, it was very well laid out. And I'm like, yeah, can't refute that too much.
Not
Especially as you hear
only,
more and more of, what their day-to-day operations are like.
not only are they doing the Kavanaugh stops,
Right.
but now they're recording your face. Hey, Palantir, we know what they're doing with your
Yeah.
data. Um, and they will go harass you. They will come to your house as a protester to intimidate you.
I I would not be surprised. I did see something about, oh my gosh, what was it? Two police officers, plainclothes police officers in Miami Beach. Did you see this?
No,
That
I
were
heard in
sent.
Minneapolis that it happened.
No, these were two cops were sent to a woman's house, knocked on the door, and basically was just like they were just chatting. Like there was no intimidation, there was no meanness or cruelty. Just like, hey, is this you on social media? Like,
Oh, I saw that.
yeah, of like saying bad things against the mayor. And she's just like, A, it's my First Amendment right, and B, get the hell out of my house.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, and I'm sure they're super busy, but I'm sure like the Florida ACLU is just like, oh God.
Well,
It's
they
just,
have. Yeah. Oh my God. Okay, let's get to a lighter topic because
all
it's
right.
doomsday over here. In pop culture, I wanted to start with a big, big thank you to you
Uh-oh.
because
What did I do?
you introduced me to my new favorite podcast this week. And I cannot wait until
Oh.
I'm like, all right, after we get 10 episodes in, then I'll be able to figure out like how to get sound bites and do this stuff. For those listening, once we were spacemen with, is it Nathan Fillion?
Nathan Fillion and Alan Tudyk
There we go.
of Firefly fame.
Spectacular.
Isn't it though? Ridiculously fun.
Spectacular.
Ridiculously fun.
I mean, I could put it on and just, it's background. It's my new NPR. It's my,
Yeah, you're not wrong. So when I sent it to you, I literally listened to like the first, like top of the hour news on NPR, and then I'm like, that's good, I'm done. I'm gonna go listen to a podcast. Yeah,
oh my gosh.
it's quickly rising in the ranks of my favorite podcast. It's right up there right now with the Lonely Island guys.
Oh, because I've had to stop listening to everything else. Oh, besides New Heights and Not Gonna Lie, and like those very
Yeah.
kind of like catchy ones, because I can't know the truth anymore. I'm truthed out right
Not
now.
just bite sizes.
Just like yeah, it was I thought that it was fantastic. I love how they're rehashing stuff, and I now have to go back and watch Firefly. I don't think I did.
It won't take you long. I mean, it lasted like
So
a
one
season,
season.
and it was like 9, 13 episodes and a movie.
That is easy peasy. Now, what's also coming up on the Boob Tube
Mm.
is Bridgerton season 4, which I will tell you I'm really excited about. Just really, really excited about. This is part 4, but it's actually the 5th technical season because they had their own Queen Charlotte. But you've never watched this show.
I've never watched it. I've seen, well, that's not entirely true. I saw portions of one episode from the first season.
Mm.
And it's funny because my wife and several others were like, "Oh, it's a period piece. You'd love it. Like, yeah, why haven't you watched it yet?" And I'm like, "Because there's everything else out there to watch."
Yeah.
So yeah, I'll have to add it. I'll have to add it to the list one of these days.
Like, it's not the Gilded Age.
Yeah, which is also something that came too late, but I binged the first two seasons to catch up because, well, my wife was watching it and I was like, oh, that kind of looks interesting. But I also got like the Downton Abbey vibe, and Downton Abbey was one of those things that was really interesting to me for about a season, and then I'm just like, no, this is just bad choices theater. I'm gonna go somewhere else and read a book.
Well, it's the same. So for Downton Abbey and Gilded Age, it's the
Same
producer.
creators, yeah,
Same
yeah.
creators.
I think it's Adrian Fellows, something like
and
that.
I believe they're actually trying to intertwine the two stories.
I've heard that rumored. We'll see what happens because basically, when it makes sense from the perspective of they've already kind of done the plot line of a daughter marrying a British lord and the dowry and all that other stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but no. Once for Spacemen, absolutely hilarious, and I like ones. I like podcasts that have that certain element of like friendship or familiarity between the two main people, kind of like us,
Yeah.
because there's a different set of engagements, the in jokes, the informality, the comfort is really really interesting, and it's fun. It's kind of fun from the perspective of they're bringing in people they've worked with in the past, whether it be Firefly or other things. So to get to see that dynamic is always interesting, and they're clearly just having an absolute ball with the production of the things, like all the little interstitials they do.
Love it.
It's just hilarious. Yeah. So yeah,
I-
once for Spaceman, highly recommend.
I was not expecting Nathan to be such a charismatic kind of personality. He's funny.
Yeah.
I mean, I knew
yeah.
Alan would be. I was like, oh no, Alan must be like
Sure.
I mean, what's your favorite movie with Alan in it?
That's hard. I would say it'd still have to be A Knight's Tale.
Oh, sometimes I'm so juvenile. I realize I'm gonna be like Dodgeball is my favorite with him.
Yeah, no, totally. Well, and it's funny too because he's kind of like he's minor league famous in my house because he's done so many voices or in movies of characters that we like. So when and we loved him in the movies, but when he got Resident Alien, I mean, we watched that show religiously for the 4 seasons it was out, and it was interesting because one of the pods I was listening to just last night, he basically said he was like, they interviewed like 100 people before they got to him, and I'm like, that blew my mind because he's just so perfect for that show. Like, why wouldn't he have been your first call?
Oh my gosh. Have you watched Percy Jackson yet on Disney?
Yeah, we just wrapped it.
Did you catch the Blockbuster Kid? I was trying to find the
Blockbuster Kid.
So they have remember she goes to the ship and there's all these characters of people who've died in the past, and one of them is Mitch, was an employee of Blockbuster. He eventually died during a pretty ugly part of the streaming wars and was bound to Ares
yeah,
as a consequence of being defeated in battle. I was like, oh, I love this because talk about Disney or somebody in production really just having a go.
Just
with
having
Disney.
a good time with that. We just finished that. The other one that we just finished, which was brilliant, was Pluribus.
I couldn't get into it.
Oh, you see, I
gotta try again.
I would try again.
Okay.
It should have been something that I didn't like because I have a hard time with series where the protagonist is just somebody who is just a bad person. And Carol,
maybe that was it.
And Carol is just a bad person. I mean, well, she's not a bad person, but she's certainly misanthropic to the point where I'm just like, Yeah, I don't know about this, but she does it so well, and the whole series is written so well that at least for me, you get a sense of why you should be sympathetic to her cause, outside of
Mm.
like all of just the horrible things that are going on. But yeah, fantastic show. I'm
Did,
really really excited to see what the second season's going to be.
were you keen on Severance?
Oh yeah,
Okay.
oh yeah.
I think that was also another one that it took me. I think it took like content creators to explain what was going on. Like, okay, I'll go back and watch it because
Well, that one was really slow. That was a slow burn, right?
yeah,
Like that was both odd and a slow burn, but just a fantastic. The last few episodes of the first season were just some of the best television in the last 20 years. And it was just amazing how well structured and how tense it was. Like, it's very rare you watch a television show and you realize that you stopped breathing for a minute because you're like, what's gonna happen now? Yeah.
oh, I love that. The other show that's getting some buzz is His and Hers on Netflix with Tessa Thompson and John Bernthal.
We saw the trailer for it, but we haven't cracked it open yet.
I I I turned it on. It is a good one. However, the other one that has top billing in my house right now is
Mm.
Hijack with Idris Elba.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, I've heard good things. I've just never seen it.
Oh, you didn't see
No, no, no.
one while you're not doom scrolling and avoiding reality.
That's
It's
add that to the list as well.
add that to the list. It's really awesome. No, oh, we finally watched F1.
It's funny. We've had it queued up and we haven't watched it yet. Mainly because my son he checked out a bunch of really really disparate odd movies, or they're not as a collection they're odd. As individually they're fine. There's things like No Country for Old Men and
Love that. Oh my god, I love that.
but yeah, one of our relatives actually works in the industry and had nothing but great things to say about F1 when it first came out. And we were going to go see it in a theater with a big IMAX screen, and we just never got around to it. So it stares at us from Apple TV every time we we turn on Apple TV. So I now that it's got an Academy Award nomination, I feel like I'm obligated to watch it because I'm like, really, F1
For what?
Best Picture,
Oh, really?
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, and if I remember correct, because remember, Best Picture now has 10 nominations. Like
I know I'm
everybody
gonna go
else,
look at the
and
Academy
and I'm
nomination.
trying to, I may be remembering this wrong, but I believe they went with the 10 nominations when they doubled it from five to accommodate more of the blockbusters and what have you, because you'd have Marvel movies coming out and they weren't getting nominated for Best Picture. I think Black Panther's the only one that has. I'm probably getting that wrong.
Uh,
Um,
of the
but then
10 years.
you look at the 10 now, and all of them are obviously critically acclaimed, but I would say none of them, with maybe the exception of F1 and one or two others, were like massive blockbuster.
Mm.
Broke the bank.
Did you watch Begonia?
No, but it's on the list. We've heard very good things.
Okay, couldn't get into it.
Yeah.
Couldn't get into it. F1. I had to split it up into two. It was too long for me. Uh, like my attention span is so much.
My bias towards that movie is that I probably will like it because I like Brad Pitt and I like the director. I like
Hmm.
the Joseph Kosinski. I think he's done some really fun stuff.
Um, Speaking of No Country for Old Men, is that has Javier Bardem in it too?
Yes.
Okay, there we go.
That was the one. It's
No, that's not. No, that's the other one.
Yeah,
No
No
Country for
Country
Old
for
Men.
Old Men.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Tommy Lee Jones, Javier
Okay,
Bardem, Josh Brolin.
that's it. Okay.
Yeah,
Yep, yep, yep. That's it. All right. Hamnet, haven't seen it yet.
we want to see it because our youngest saw it and just they were like, "You will be weeping by the end of it." And I'm like, "Yeah,
Oh, okay.
kind of got that from the trailer."
Okay. Um, Marty Supreme has no. I have no itch to scratch with that one.
Not a Chalamet devotee.
I think he's a great kid. I just
Yeah.
he doesn't have that swagger or presence that makes me want to go watch him. When he's
Right.
in things, I'm like, oh, you happen to be in this. This is great.
Right.
And but I don't want to diminish his amazing. He's like my kid's age. So
Yeah, tied the record, I think, set by Marlon Brando for most nominations by the time you're 30.
yeah, good on him, kid.
Yeah.
Because I could
Oh
use
yeah,
some
he's
success
rocking.
right now. One battle after another.
Fantastic. So good.
Okay, so I'll put that on.
Oh yeah, we saw
I
that. We saw it at the theater, and I'm glad we did because the cinematography, especially in the third act, is just almost almost vertigo inducing. Great movie.
okay. The Secret Agent, no idea.
Heard about it, haven't seen it.
Sentimental Value,
Also heard about it. It's supposed to be fantastic, and I think only came out fairly recently. But Stellan Skarsgård, I'll watch him every day. He's great.
yeah, yeah. Train Dreams.
Out on Netflix, Joel Edgerton, supposed to be amazing. It's
Oh,
actually
okay.
it's in our queue. Now that we've cleared out the other ones. Yeah, so this is the sidebar. So my son saw or was referred to an SNL skit back in the day. Bill Hader as Daniel Day-Lewis doing the I drink your milkshake from It Will Be Blood, and the skit, because the other two movies came out in roughly the same time. They had Fred Armisen come out as the Javier Bardem assassin from No Country for Old Men, and they had one of the other cast members come out as Juno,
Oh,
right? And so my son was like, "What? Why?" Like, it's a funny skit on the surface, but at the same time, you're like, "What are these things?" So he checked out all three movies from the library, and we've been like watching them like every other day or something like that.
yeah.
It was really fun to go from like two incredibly bleak kind of film masterpieces to then Juno, which we saw in the movie theaters and really liked it, but I forgot how funny and how tight that movie is.
Yeah.
It was really fun.
So the
So yeah,
last two
Train
I,
Dreams.
I didn't mention. The first was the Sinners, which I loved. I did.
Saw it
I did
twice.
love. I
Loved it.
loved Sinners. I had to watch it a few times to be like, I think I missed this. I think I missed
Right.
that. I think I missed this. But the one that I'm not rooting for, but the one that I thought was beautiful, I did not expect to like Frankenstein.
Oh, it was amazing. We loved it.
Amazing.
So good.
Amazing. I was just like, how is that not top of everyone's list?
Well, yeah, and Del Toro didn't get a director's nod for it, which I thought was a big omission for me. But yeah, that was one of those ones that we were really excited to see. We saw it in theaters, and it was I was funny because I remember we read the book several times. Probably like once in high school for fun, once in college because it was on one of the syllabuses, and then
Yeah.
at some point in my 30s. And I kind of remembered the structure of it. And so as the movie is actually as because it has a kind of an interesting start, and as the whole movie is spooling by, the two things I'm thinking of are they really going to try and do the whole book, which because it's not a big book, but it is a long story to tell. Like, it's got a lot of elements, and they did, and I thought they did a really nice job with it. But also, I knew it was filmed, like the castle parts were filmed in this tiny little Scottish village, which I have friends who live in.
Oh, wow.
And so I'm like literally from their Facebook feed, I'm like, I know that place. I know that place. It was really, but yeah, just got a gorgeous movie though. The production
okay,
design was fantastic.
I thought Jacob Elordi was. I forgot who they were originally going to cast. I think it was Andrew Garfield, and I'm like, whew,
Yeah,
you dodged a bullet. Like,
yeah.
not. No offense, Andrew.
I'm
but
sure he would have done a fine job, but Jay Mallory was amazing in that one.
even his own physique.
Yeah.
His own physique made that normal. So, oh my gosh, that is fantastic. I was trying to look at like what else is coming up. Um, new music is coming out.
Okay.
I guess
Every
Harry
week.
Styles. Harry
Oh
Styles is
yes, what
coming
was
out.
that? Was it? It was something disco occasionally.
Oh, Kiss all the time.
Kiss all
Described
the
as
time. Disco
disco
occasionally.
occasionally. He's
Yeah.
gonna have like 20 dates in um, New York.
Real. Well, I'm sure he'll sell them all out.
You know what? Have at it. If you don't feel like traveling, then that sounds perfect to me.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I was so a little personal sidebar. Um Speaking of work and trying to find work and making sure you're out there hustling your muscle. So, with the move to Arizona, I've
Right.
decided that I'm going to go try to find a proper job again and put myself out there.
Sure.
And so this week I decided to take like these photos and upload them to get a headshot going.
The one on the sailboat was lovely. It was a great shot
Wonderful.
of
It
you.
was a great shot. So I used the AI generator and it came up with really great ones, but I was like, oh, this is a fun one. It looks like I'm on a yacht in
I'm
Ibiza.
on a boat.
I'm so embarrassed that I used that as not embarrassed. Like I was, yeah, I,
I don't know why you would be. It's a great shot. I mean, it doesn't give you like extra fingers or
no.
another,
And it was my
eyeball.
face and my
Yeah,
hair. Just,
yeah.
it made me, I was like, oh, that's going to be my Wegovy weight after a year, I guess. I mean, um, but I was laughing at, I think I had like over 100 comments and I was like, fucking hell. Just fucking hell. How do you explain that to anybody? Like, thanks if you see me in person. I'm definitely whiter. Like,
Yeah,
I'm
well,
definitely whiter.
it's funny well, you finish your story about the job search, then I'll tell you what I was going to say.
Oh gosh. Well, because I was looking at everything and I'm excited to try a new zip code to try to
Sure.
work in.
Right?
Because speaking
Totally
of
fair.
AI, I was also interested to see what appeared to be Mark Benioff being very concerned about AI and AI slop.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought, didn't you just do a big layoff based on AI?
Yeah.
Like he is one of the very few Bay Area natives who made it in Silicon
Yep.
Valley
Totally.
that I really thought that's a good soul. That's a good soul. But I have to realize at the end of the day, any billionaire who isn't Mackenzie Scott
Right. Yeah.
isn't
Isn't Melinda Gates or I'm
yeah,
sorry, Melinda French or Mackenzie Scott? Yeah, no,
yeah.
absolutely. Yeah, it's funny. It's his sort of attitudinal adjustment over the last 4 or 5 years has been really interesting. Because I used to look at Salesforce as a place that I eventually wanted to work. I talked to them
Yeah.
several times about some interesting roles.
Yeah.
Really on the strength of sort of like the executive leadership and culture that's out there,
Mm-hmm.
because they are so well known now. It's easy to make some choices about who you want to work for. But yeah, the AI slop thing is interesting because that just really kind of spiked in the last month or so. Like it popped up in Satya Nadella's memo to the company that eventually, of course, got leaked. Which cracks me up because having worked with some of those executive comms teams over at Microsoft for a while, they're very specific conversations about writing things that could be leaked and what you will accept and what you won't accept.
Yeah.
But it was, and Satya, if you're listening, I mean this with love. To go out in a memo to your company and say we want to step away from and stop calling some of these results AI slop is like, well, you don't get to set the terminology, the market will. And clearly people are recognizing that there are some non-optimum results coming from your AI technology and everybody else's as well. Like, it's not like they're calling it MS slop. They're calling it AI slop because it's
Mm-hmm.
everywhere and it's pervasive. And the fact that people like Satya and Mark are finally talking about it means it's been out there for a while and it's taken, months to percolate to their level where they're willing to consider it.
I'm not clairvoyant, but I definitely could go back to 2016.
You've been pretty good so far.
Yeah. I'm going to go back to 2016 and just say for the last 10 years it's been hell because I've been telling you what was going to happen and then it happened. But
And that brings us to 2016. Ladies and gentlemen and faithful listeners, this is the part of the show where we ask, what the fuck is going on with all the 2016 postings?
So I was
We
like,
understand that we're
2016.
old.
I like genuinely though, if you think of 2016, what did your desk look like in 2016?
Meaning the one I'm in front of now or the one that I actually worked at?
Yeah.
Have we had this one this long? This is one of these old, yeah, I think we have actually. A big, modular L-shaped IKEA desk that I've actually taken modules out of it because we've reconfigured this room at least twice. But yeah, but then, I think about like where I was in 2016. I was a year out of the Nokia acquisition. I was working in digital security at Microsoft. And had one of those really fancy up and down desks so I could stand or sit or.
Did you have to have a doctor's note that like then facilities
Oh no.
would get you that?
No. They were a dime a dozen at Microsoft.
Oh no. So at Visa, you had to get a doctor's note in order for facilities to. By the way, that was also the year we had built out the Palo Alto office, and people were clutching their pearls because they were no longer going to have a physical phone on their desk that they never spoke on.
Oh yeah, oh my. We could have an entire We should have an entire conversation about how like personal work environments have changed, even in the last 5 years, but certainly in the last 10 years. Because I remember we still had. Did we? No, I don't think we did. I think by 2016 we had gotten rid of most of our desk phones, which I thought was hilarious because there was this, there's this explosion, especially with Cisco and a couple of the other networking companies, to design these really interesting IP phones that had a screen and a touch screen. You could program, you do all, and it synced with your Jabra really well and all this other stuff. And then like Live Messenger and Link and Skype and whatever the hell Cisco was putting out. It might have been WebEx. I can't remember. All of these, basically telephony through your computer apps started popping up, and it was hilarious to walk into some people's offices or even clients' offices, and they still had phones on their desk. And I'm like, oh, that's right, phones. How novel. Because I mean, it reduced down to what's on your computer and what's on your cell phone. That's what it became.
Yeah. So there was a big hubbub around BYOB, so bringing your own device. So, I mean, we were both in compliance and in different worlds.
Mm-hmm.
But the other hot topic back then was open source software.
Oh God, yeah. Oh yeah.
Between Docker and Hadoop and Kubernetes and everything else that was hitting the screen. I think how many IT departments and compliances were trying to figure out how to scramble and what does open source software mean with our IP? How do you capitalize on that with OpEx and
literally having this conversation this morning with a startup that I'm advising on. And we were talking about that exact thing, like, compliance and controls, and it really should be called controls and compliance, because if you use your controls properly, then compliance is a lot more proactive and a lot easier to do from day to day. And this faithful listener is a sidebar on governance, risk, and compliance. It's riveting shit. But yeah, no, I mean, Raspberry Pi coming in, open source software coming in,
Oh my
The
god, the
reason that,
Raspberry Pis. Oh
remember
my
that? Oh
god.
my God.
Oh,
Oh,
the device.
the number of like security engineers, security architects, and CISOs I knew that were just pulling their hair out because, to your point, bring your own device became, hey, let's just put Raspberry Pi all through the building and see what happens. And of course, people were losing their minds. But yeah, I mean, there was a good time when I was in digital security where every year when we were writing like the board report or the audit committee report or something like that, there'd be some discussion of an external third party technology within the enterprise that had just exploded like kudzu, right? It was just like this weed that was suddenly everywhere. And it was the same way at Microsoft when I left about ChatGPT. It was, and every single year there was something new. And that's why, well, legend says that the reason that Teams exist is because there was so much Slack usage within Microsoft, um, that the one of the executives went to Satya and said, "Hey, we just want to buy Slack, like not get a license, buy the company." And he's like, "I'll pay, I'll give you like half of what you would pay for Slack to just go build your own or something like that." And that's how, that was allegedly the genesis of Teams because they wanted a Slack competitor.
Salesforce ended up buying Slack.
Yeah, yeah.
By the way, speaking of open source software, a podcast, speaking of 2020, I mean, that feels like so long ago, that I would have listened to, but now I can't stand 3 of the 4 hosts. I think they're actually all in the Trump administration now, is the All In podcast. But I found...
Which one is that one?
That has... what is their names? The All In podcast has Chamath, Jason Kalakanakis, David Sachs, and David Friedberg.
Oh, God, yeah.
Yeah. And Jason Calacanis, I can't forget. It's ironic though, like most of them except for Chamath are actually from South Africa. I'm like, that's actually at the root of all billionaire ilk.
Yeah, who knew back in our apartheid protest days in the 80s and 90s we'd be talking about South Africa again.
Yeah,
having to do anything other than Trevor Noah.
Yeah. He's advised developers to avoid using OpenAI's API, labeling it a trap where OpenAI studies how users build products in order to replicate them.
Oh, God, no. I mean, I would not... and next time I'm talking with some of my Microsoft buds, I should see what they eventually did. But, yeah, I mean, I wouldn't let OpenAI anywhere near my organization.
Right.
I mean, I'm grudgingly using Perplexity now just because it's got some interesting... I like what they do with citations, and I know they only have like 1 or 2% of the market. But I don't feel like I'm feeding the beast as much as I do when I'm looking at ChatGPT.
The one I use is Gemini, but I use it in my instance, and so I pay for mine, and so I'm always like, oh, well, I'm kind of paying for it, so it stays within my container. Speaking of Jabber and Slack, and some messages you may not want to have out there, I feel like we'll close it off on a hot topic that's in pop culture this week. Actually, no, there was 2 things I wanted to talk about.
All right.
I don't know if you know that Blake Lively is going after a former co-star producer, Jason Baldoni, for sexual harassment.
Yeah. That's been going on forever. Yeah.
I mean, it's the most cringiest of experiences to like watch that play out in social media. But her text messages with Taylor Swift came out, and people are like, "Oh my God! Like, how dare they talk shit about this man?" And I was like, "Oh my God! I'm glad that you guys are not asking to see the messages I would send to friends." But one of the things that I wanted us to, maybe we ended on a good note, is our very favorite Padre Guilherme.
Yeah, I'm not even going to attempt to Guillermo's. It's close to he's great. We love him.
When the Pope Like, when the Pope gets me more than my government, I I don't know what timeline we're on, but I want off. I I want I want off.
Well,
But
and what
I love it though.
oh, yeah, and I don't really know his story, right? Like all I know is he's popped up in. To be honest, the reason I know him is because he popped up in an EDM feed that I follow on Instagram,
Hmm.
and I'm like, at first I thought it was a joke. I'm like, what the hell is this? But then you had sent it along, and it was just like, okay, if Jen's looking at it, I got to dive into it a little deeper.
I actually tuned into the live broadcast.
Oh, nice.
I was like, get this shit. Because let's be honest, you can go to EDC, you can go, even when you go to Coachella, they
Yeah.
have an EDM tent.
Yep, yep.
There's not one unhappy person in that tent.
No, no, they are not.
EDM is a huge dopamine hit. If you even look at the lyrics, like,
Yeah,
it's not singing Ain't No Sunshine When You're Gone. Like, it's
right.
like rainbows and unicorns and I feel good today. And
Look at all the pretty colors.
oh my, like, I love me some Cascade any day or night. Give it
Yeah,
to me. Like, I love it. But yeah, the Vatican EDM show, I just was like, look at you go.
yeah. Like, yeah,
I,
we should definitely dig in and learn a little bit more about his story because what a what a fantastic and completely unexpected distraction from the Catholic Church.
you know what? I am at I'm at a loss of what to concentrate on to make sure that depression doesn't get any worse as I'm trying to figure out how to get to a
Well, you're about to
more
get a lot more
sunshine.
sunshine.
I am. I am. I've got so much work to do in that house. I've got. I drained the pool last year because there was some issues with it. I'm like, oh, hey, pool guy.
Yeah,
What's it going to take to fill that pool? Because I think I'm going to need it for summer. Like,
yeah.
even if it's got some issues, we will have time to get everything up and going. All right, between this and the next one, what do you got coming up?
Uh,
Besides watching a lot of movies,
and
in
watching
the
a
warm
lot
weather.
of movies. Yeah, I think we're headed out to the canal for a bit to taking some seaside nature, which is always good. And then
Nice.
job market's heating up again. I've got 4 applications in, and I literally had a call right before this with an old friend who works for another old friend, basically saying, "Hey, come join our party." So we'll
Nice.
see. Yeah, I mean,
I got.
and now I'm at that point. I'm like, do I really want to work?
Okay, so after a year of being off, let's be
Right.
honest, after a year of being off, I actually had a call from DocuSign this week.
Oh, good, good. That's right.
And
You talked about that earlier.
I was excited because I explained to them talking to Court, and he was like, "Oh, okay." The only
Oh, that's
buzzkill,
right. You've got that in.
but the only buzzkill with it was, I actually think I'd be amazing in this role. Was that they're like, "Yeah, we want somebody to come into the office,
Right.
twice a week," and I was like, "I'm packing up my house."
Yeah, exactly. Do you have
I
an office in Arizona?
Phoenix, yeah, but he said, I mean, we'll see. Maybe there'll be a
Yeah.
role down there. I mean, if you offered me that role, I may not put my house on the market, but that's a different one. The
Sure.
other was a brand
Then you
new.
can buy more furniture to fill it up.
Yeah. Oh, you know what? Or maybe I had too much to start with. The other was a brand new fintech company down in Arizona who
Yeah.
just IPO'd. And I thought, boy, do you need me. Because
Yeah,
I
exactly.
started talking to them about like all their risk stuff. They had no idea about who the FFIEC was.
Yeah.
And I said, "Oh, you're a fintech company, and you're doing a lot of hedge betting. It's the Winkle, it's Gemini.
Oh, yeah. I remember we were talking
And
about
I'm not
that. Yeah,
saying like, hey, they don't. I think they're just looking to build up their risk and compliance team.
Well,
And
they
I
absolutely
thought,
are because I remember seeing a job posting for them in San Francisco that I think was like an ERM manager or like a governance director, something like that. Yeah.
So I have a friend who has a friend who works, who's a former Googler, and so I was talking to them, and I was like, actually, I'd love to do even contract to hire because I don't think you guys know, in my opinion, was there's so much coming down the pike right now
Oh, yeah.
that like you should also be using AI to figure out where, you have your agents. Your agents should be able to connect, because get those things up and going. But yeah, I think I'm hoping the job market gets better, but I never know with this administration how they're
Yeah.
going to throw a wrench into something that is just like, oh, never mind. So,
Yeah,
anywho,
exactly.
well, hopefully we can do this again next week, so I can get my last one in before I'm out of this TP here. I gotta
We'll
figure out
see.
I gotta figure out what I'm doing with my walls down in AZ, and then I gotta
Oh,
get
that's
our
right.
we should get our Patreon up and going so that we can really talk to people. All right, friend. Well,
Lord, great to see you.
it was signing off. It's good to catch
Yeah.
up.
Yeah. See you later.
Ciao.
Bye.
Bye.